Tonight on the Black Channel, a message and an update about fathers. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers from all around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting super fortress of the family of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university or higher education and learning in the cosmos. And of course, you're welcome to join us. And on tonight's program here, I've got, to be totally honest with you here, I just have some thoughts that I would like to share. Because I don't get to do this kind of thing very often. And the Black Channel was created as a repository of information, news, analysis that I wished had been there for me when I was 19, 20, 22, 23 years old. I can't imagine some of the things that I might have been able to avoid if that type of social resource had been available. And yet, here we are, going on 15 years later. We're bigger than we've ever been. We're more influential than we've ever been. We have been able to do things that a decade and a half ago, people would have considered to be far-fetched at best and impossible at worst. And yet, here we are. And I would like to say that that is a testament to family. I like to say that's a testament to family. I like to say that that's a testament to who we are and what we've done. I like to say that's a testament to our beliefs. Because I want to give you all an update here tonight. I want to give you an update because a lot of you have grown up in the bastard baby maker era. I'm saying it right there because it needs to be stated plainly so I can get to the point of what I'm going to make here tonight. A lot of you have grown up in that post-civil rights era, and most of them, can we just be honest, most of them were a walking disgrace. They left the landscape far worse than they found it. The spoiled brats of the World War II generation soiled the landscape, plundered the resources, destroyed as much as they could. They created the drug culture. They created the bastard baby culture. Both the men and the women walking lockstep together did that throughout the 60s and 70s. And then when you get to the 80s, you see the wreckage. And when you get to the 90s, you see the carnage of something that we've been trying to address ever since. But I want to tell you all tonight that for the last 30 years, you have been ashamed to call yourself a black father, but not because of anything that you did. You have been walking around holding your heads down in shame to use the phrase black father because of the taint that the civil rights generation and the bastard baby making baby boomer generation created. That's what's occurred. It isn't because you were messing up. But for many of you, it's because you've been walking around with your head low. You've been doing your job, but the bad image, the bad aftertaste that they created. Some folks in here getting their eyes open because you've been trying to give them a pass. I am telling the truth and shaming the devil. I'm telling the truth and shaming the devil. And I'm putting the blame where it belongs. But what I'm telling you is that over the course of the last 20 years, I've witnessed a change. You see, the bastard baby makers of the 60s and 70s who abandoned the field to go chase drugs, cell phones, interracial sexual access, hedonism, gutter dirt life. Those individuals created the reeking, stinking cesspool that you grew up in, and yet I've watched and witnessed over the course of the last 20, 25 years as you have reclaimed the mantle of black fatherhood, but more importantly, as you're reclaiming the mantle of black manhood, because that is a father's primary goal. A father's primary purpose is to see to it that the next generation of protectors, the warrior class, and providers, the father leadership class, that he shepherds them into existence. Because without the father, without the protector, there are no people. But there are things that a father and a protector must understand. A father does not seek to perpetuate his life indefinitely. He understands that he must be willing to give everything for the people, for the women and the children who belong to him. I say this again, the women and the children belong to you, because you are not going to put your life on the line for something that doesn't belong to you. That's not just off code, that's irrational. You must be willing to lay down your life because they belong to you. They are yours. There's a reason why you can't destroy a people who have adopted that mindset. When you have a man and that is everything he got in the world is sitting in that baby carriage. Everything he's got in the world is in his arms. Everything he's got in the world is standing next to him. There's no way you gonna beat that. A man can do anything if he knows why. I reminded the words of Carl Jung, who said, a man with a why to live for can survive almost anyhow. If a man knows why he's doing what he's doing, he can sit in the fires of hell and not move because he knows why he's there. And once he knows why he's there, and once he is sure that he knows why he is there, he can do anything. Malcolm X could stare death in the face because he looked at those precious little black girls and his woman, his wife, and he knew beyond the shadow of all doubt why he was doing it. Dr. Martin Luther King could stare death in the eye day after day, year after year. He could sit there in the pulpit and tell the people, I may not get there with you. Then why would you keep walking? Like anybody, I want to have a long life. Then why are you still walking? Like anyone, I want longevity. Why are you still walking? Longevity has its place. But I just want to do God's will. And then he says, I've been to the mountaintop and I may not get there with you. What does that mean? That means I'm seeing to it that all of you, my family, I am seeing to it that my family gets there. Even if I don't. You see, an enemy who can get the protectors and providers to back down, to walk off the field, to abandon the people as the civil rights generation did and the baby boomer generation did, the bastard baby maker generation did, the superfly cocaine, coke and white women generation did. They abandoned it. When you can get them to abandon the people, to abandon the children, to abandon the mothers, to abandon the society, to abandon their brothers in arms, when you can get them to turn traitor and make themselves the most important thing, then all you have to do is threaten him. You don't have to threaten the whole society. All you got to do is threaten him and tell him that if he doesn't back down, you'll take him out. But you see, when you are staring in the eyes of a warrior, when you're staring in the eyes of a protector and provider who's like, the only way you gonna get to my people is over my dead body. Well, we'll take you out too. Then get to taking, if you can. And as you all have watched and witnessed over the last 36 months, since the uprisings following the murder of George Floyd, we've been going around the country. Remember, for the previous decade, the white supremacists, all on Twitter, all on YouTube, typing away, babbing away on their keyboards. The race war coming, the Rahowa coming, Charlottesville, the Rahowa coming. Y'all niggers don't want it. You too disorganized. Civil rights generation, mass baby generation, y'all are too disorganized. And for the last 36 months, it's been bring it. Come on with it. You can get the smoke anywhere, any city. We can barbecue anytime. Next thing you know, you hear them. We need a nicer, kinder, gentler America. I don't see why all these people are taking to the streets. And, we just need a nicer, kinder planet. I thought y'all wanted to get with it. We thought y'all wanted to get with it. Because we said, you know what? We ain't got a damn thing to do. Everything's locked down. Ain't nobody going to work tomorrow. I can go upside your damn head tonight. Next thing you know, I'll tell you one more thing. Not only are we the most conscious generation ever. Oh, I said it. Not only is this the most conscious generation ever, it's the most well-armed. This is the most well-armed generation of black men that the world has ever witnessed. The black males today didn't let you sit up here and tell us, give up your guns. See, y'all remember back in the 90s, that was a big thing in places like Los Angeles and New York. Give up your guns. No, you need to give up your guns. Now, the white men and the white supremacists, they can stockpile the AR-15s and AK-47s because only a criminal black male would need to have a gun. Why do you need to have a gun? Because the bad guys do. You notice that for this generation, telling us give up our guns is falling on deaf ears. Oprah Winfrey can't sit there with her LGBT chorus from the civil rights generation and get you to give that up. We are the true children of Malcolm X. No, you've been sold a lie for the last 30 years that you're wondering, you've been living with the stigma of somebody else's actions. What I'm telling you is that you've turned a corner. And that you have begun the long, arduous process of reclaiming black manhood and black fatherhood. In my hometown of Shreveport, Louisiana, you had black fathers showing up at schools that had disciplinary problems, where the kids was fighting before the bastard baby maker generation sent the Caddo Sheriff's Office, shout out Steve Prater. Our generation sent the men, the fathers, and they didn't ask to show up. They said, we coming. You didn't see that from the Superfly cokehead heroin generation. And let me be very, very clear, that ain't the only place. Different places have expressed it in different ways. In Los Angeles, the uprisings are led by the men, led by the fathers. In Atlanta, after George Floyd, the uprisings were led by the men, by the fathers. In Minneapolis, the uprisings were led by the men, not the fathers. Our current socioeconomic movement that said we're not chasing integration nor education, we're chasing economic elevation. That is led by the men, by the fathers. What I'm telling you is this a whole different thing going on today. No, we are not down the home stretch. But what I'm telling you is that black father is no longer this perceived rarity that it once was. And while everyone might have a bit of their own take of an expression on it, what I'm telling you is that Black fatherhood is back. Despite the obstacles, despite the oppression of the system, despite some of the treasonous behavior among the wannabe Black feminist class that has infected Black society. So after we have reclaimed fatherhood, it'll be time for the females to reclaim womanhood and motherhood. But before you can do that, you first have to understand what it is. What is family? What is family? Tonight, I want to define for you all what family is. Family in a single sentence is when I call, you answer. And when you call, I'm coming. That is family right there. Everybody else is just an acquaintance. Everyone else is just an associate. Your family are the people that I don't give a damn if y'all didn't had a knockdown drag out in the front yard. 3 hours later, if you call, they coming. Might not be coming with a smile on their face, but if you call, they're coming. You want to know what the real treason of the civil rights generation was, why it was that you needed super luminaries like Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, Huey Newton. You know why you needed to have mega titans like that? Because the civil rights generation and the bastard baby-making baby boomer generation were a generation of cowards whose primary goal in life was looking out for themselves. I'm just telling the truth. You take a look at your neighborhoods. You take a look at the schools. You take a look at the homes. The women are out for themselves from that generation. They don't care about the men. They don't care about the children. They only care about whatever bestial, lustful desires they have in the moment, and that's it. You take a look at the men from that generation. They were the first to turn on each other. Our generation talks about no snitching. Their generation was Nicky Barnes. Oh, I said it. Their generation was Frank Lucas. Oh, I said it. Now let's put this in its proper perspective and put it in its proper light. Yeah. I know we talk about some of the things they did, but we need to tell the whole damn truth. Who flipped on Frank Lucas's organization when he was faced with a life sentence? The police couldn't do what they did if they couldn't get Frank to flip. And Frank didn't just flip on the cops. They couldn't do what they did if they couldn't get Frank to flip. And they couldn't do what they did, definitely in the case of Nicky Barnes. Nicky Barnes was doing a damn life sentence. Nigga, that's it, you done. What the hell you talking about? Your woman on the street need to wait for you. Nigga, you ain't getting out. They got you on the cover of Time or Life magazine. The president of the United States said we gonna get you. The president said that. Dude, you're done. What you need to do is make sure that there is an orderly succession of your organization, but you're done. And instead of doing that, instead of doing the noble thing and saying, I got to make sure that all these folk out here on the streets stay good, hand it over to Guy, hand it over to whoever else. I got to make sure they stay good. Instead, he said, well, if I can't run it, I can wreck it. Dude, you behind bars. That's not a protector or provider. You behind bars. Still trying to look out for yourself. What I'm telling you is you got more stand-up dudes today than you did back then. Those are fairy tales that they fed you from back then. Did you actually read the documentation to see what them niggas did? They was flipping on every damn body. But later coming back telling you about being stand-up men. I'm telling you that your generation has more of a code than theirs ever did. I'm saying that your generation understands it more than theirs ever did. What you lack, though, is proper grooming. What you lack, though, is proper shepherding. What you lack are proper role models. But I understand why. Because you looked at them old niggas and said, I ain't got nothing to learn from him. I ain't got nothing to learn from them. They ain't got nothing to teach me. I'm not trying to be like him. And you were right. You were right. When the young revolutionaries took to the streets, it was the old niggas. Did you keep saying nigga? It's them old niggas. Since I need to orbit the world on that one, just in case I didn't offend you enough. It was the old niggas telling y'all get out the streets. It was the old niggas telling y'all to go home. It was the old niggas, fat and old, with their gray beards and their gray hairs after all these damn decades, telling the young warriors get out the streets. It was only those of us from my generation telling you stay on the streets. Jason, do you believe that? I don't just believe it, I'm putting my money behind it. We don't even have an organization. I got nothing but volunteers around me. All these black women from across the country, all these black men from across the country getting together and saying, we got to bail them out, to the point that we brought the judicial system across this nation to its knees. You thought you could only see that with the Church of Scientology. They were dropping charges left, right, and center because we cracked that 5% threshold. The judicial system can't tolerate more than 5 to 10% of cases going to trial. You go beyond that threshold, the system cracks and breaks down. They depend on everyone coming into court and plea bargaining out. They can't take 25% of the people saying, let's take it to trial, and we broke them. We said we're going to bail them out and we're going to take it to trial. They were throwing out charges left, right, and center. Why the hell couldn't your civil rights generation, where the hell was Al Sharpton and the rest of them, with supposedly way more resources than we ever had? And we broke them. We broke them in a single summer. We broke them. How the hell is it y'all couldn't do it for 30 damn years and we did it in 30 hours? Looks like somebody was actually on the field fighting and the rest of you niggas was doing what you always do. Hell no, you don't deserve the title of fatherhood. Damn sure don't deserve the title of manhood. The real men were in the streets. The real men were putting in the work. The real men were making the phone calls and springing people out and setting the captive free. The real men were fighting the system. The old niggas was sitting at home denying blackness exists. The old ones were sitting at home telling us go home. Because they just want a peaceful death. And we said, you know what, man? Damn a peaceful death. Let's make this bastard loud as it can be. If we got to go damn peaceful and quiet, we going with a bang, not a whimper. And the old niggas don't understand courage. They don't understand it. They don't get it. They're looking at you like a hydra sprouting heads. What do you mean? Ain't nothing more important than saving my old ass life. Ain't nothing more important than that right there. You young cats is crazy as hell. Y'all making all this damn noise out here. You making all these problems out here. Y'all need to just leave that alone. Every time we turn around, y'all making a bunch of noise out here. Why y'all got to do all that? You should just leave that be. These old bastards don't even look to get any respect anymore. They don't even look to be looked at with esteem anymore. They look to be forgotten now because they didn't do anything worth remembering. Let me tell you something right now. I don't do this for glory. I don't do this for attention. I do this because it was in the needs of the people. And you all know that for over a decade and a half now, I have never attempted to make a name for myself. I have never attempted to become famous. I have never attempted to milk my notoriety. I could have written books. I could have done public events. I could have had a TV show. I got the best damn voice in internet media, and yet I've never tried to do that. Why not? Because I believe in you. I believe in the people. You are my family. And your children are not yours. They're ours. They belong to all of us. If you are not around, it is my responsibility to take care of your children as my own. Because they are. And if something were to happen to me, it is your responsibility to take care of my children as if they were your own. Because they are. And we used to have that, but the bastard baby-making civil rights generation abandoned that. You had, for the first time probably in our history, you had a group of old niggas who did not get any joy from hearing someone say, Father. That, to me, that is supposed to be one of the most sacred moments in a man's life. Is to look down at these little wide-eyed reproductions of yourself and to hear them say dad, to hear them say father. And I'm talking about with respect and esteem. Not some single mother cult where you sit up here and raise your kids to be mad attack dogs because you couldn't keep a husband. I'm talking about children who genuinely esteem you because they've seen who you are. My dad can work on cars. My dad can work on carpentry. My dad fixes things around the house. My dad is the first one up in the mornings. I never had to see the man sit up here in a pair of pajamas. First one up in the morning, last one to go to sleep. That's what builds esteem. When you see that your father, progressively your lives got better, no matter what the odds were, despite the odds, that man made sure that you saw what you needed to do, that he set the pattern and the template that you could live by. And as a result, he was a man that other people looked up to, that other people had respect. You see, when a man reaches that point in his life where he walks into buildings, walks into rooms, and people are looking at him with genuine respect and esteem, that man isn't afraid of death. The man who has spent his life cowering in a church, cowering under a woman, cowering behind some pitiful menial little job, cowering behind consumer goods, that nigga's afraid of death. He's scared of it. Don't bring him anything to die for. He won't unless he's forced to. You can't show anything that he has chosen, and you can't show any part of his life that other people, other men, other women, other children look at with esteem and say, that's who I want to be when I grow up. I want to inherit that mantle from him. Scared ass, worthless women Raise scared, weak boys who hide up under them. Your job is not to preserve your sons' lives. Your job is to make sure that you have raised men and warriors who know what to live for and what to die for. And the old decrepit rejects who abandoned the field created the problem. But I've watched over the course of the last 20 years as you've begun to execute the solution. You've begun the process of retaking fatherhood and manhood so that when you say black father, it isn't this weird thing to say. It was a weird thing for them because they turned traitor against the rest of us. It was a weird thing for them. But it's not a weird thing for you. It's not this strange thing for you. Because you actually see value in yourself. Because it's taken some time to get their stench to start wafting out of the room, but it's begun. And now them old bastards are more vocal than they've ever been. Ain't that right, bowling ball fish head Martin? Now that you've begun to sweep their memories out of the room and to erase them from the field, and now that folk realize that being old don't get you no respect anymore. They can't just be old and get instantaneous respect. Folks are saying, before I give you a damn thing, let me check the paperwork. Now all of a sudden, they want to start getting louder and more vocal. Now, isn't that interesting? When it was time to fight white supremacy, when it was time to show you could build a family and an intact community, you was quiet as hell. The children now say, get the hell out the way, we'll take it from here. And now you want to get vocal. Now you want to get loud. Now you want to get heard. And I'm telling you all, continue the course. You are doing what needs to be done. Continue valuing manhood without apology, without remorse, and without compromise. Because that is what rebuilding fatherhood requires. And you do not ask permission to do so. Not now, not ever. You don't ask permission. It is your birthright. It is your divine authority. It's not something given to you by man or the state. It is something born in your blood. That is why, as a man, you need to be financially astute. I don't give a damn what happened to you in grade school. I don't give a damn how many times you flunked math. You cannot lead your family without understanding at least basic mathematics. How can you turn $1 into $2 if you can't count $1? You have a responsibility to master that so you can lead. You have a responsibility to master that so you can teach your children how to operate and navigate in this society. And so ultimately they can build on what the father has done because they have a clear metric. I got to turn dad's $1 into $2. That also leads you to legacy. Having the esteem in what you leaving behind. Having your esteem in what you are leaving. Having your esteem on that. And by the way, what you're leaving behind ain't even got to have your name on it. Now there's where you're dealing with something epic, that what you're leaving behind doesn't even really have your name on it, but it stands to a testament to what you've done. There's an old saying about the old generation plants the trees so the children can sit in the shade. You're supposed to take pride simply in seeing that. You're supposed to have pride as a man, as a father, simply in seeing that. without anyone saying anything to you. You're not supposed to be sitting there waiting for admiration or a pat on the back or adulation. Seeing that your children are enjoying the fruits of your labor. It's real nice that you built the swing and the slide in the back of the yard. That's great. We ain't supposed to hold a ticker tape parade for you. You're supposed to build that thing, and you're supposed to enjoy looking out the back window and seeing your children, seeing the smiles on their faces as they go sliding around the slide and up and down on the swings and on the little merry-go-round. As a man, you're supposed to take pride in that. I did that. I did that. And I'm not talking about the building of the toys. I mean the look on their little faces. I did that. You're supposed to be proud when you sat your child down and they had little confidence in themselves. They go to school play and they're wondering about the lines. And they're having difficulty with them and they struggle with them. And you remind them that there's nothing in the hands of man that they can't do. That there is no such thing as magic. And truth be told, there is no such thing as talent. Everything is skill. And as my son, as my daughter, if you put yourself to this, you can master it. A father believes in the children more than they believe in themselves because he knows it isn't that they don't have something to believe in, they just don't see it yet. Your job is to shepherd them to see it. And then you watch them sit up on the stage and they're at the spelling bee or they're at the reading contest or whatever in the world it is. Maybe they got first place, maybe they got second, maybe they got third, but they did better than they thought they could. And at that moment, you don't have to sell them anymore on what they're capable of. Now they know it. And I can't think of anything more fulfilling than to know that you stood with them and helped them to become a better person. And that's your work. I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anything better than watching them come in the room with those little shy eyes, and when they left, they're in wonder and amazement because that man believed in them. That man believed in them. Most of you have never had men in your lives that believed in you. So I try to stay away from those things for the most part. But most of you haven't seen what that's like to have a masculine role model. To have a masculine person who you can look at and say, that's what it is. See, you don't need a bunch of women around your sons. You need men around them. Women don't create warriors. Men do. Women don't create soldiers. Men do. Women do not go around collecting scars and scrapes and honoring themselves for it. You talk about your sons. You talk about your sons as children. How your sons, they make the little mud pies and they throw the rocks and they sit up here and build the little forts. They scrape their knees. We teach them to get up, no crying, because this is the way you will have to live your life. You cannot be a builder who stops every time you get a scrape. And as men, it gets to the point that even in professional sports, you get cuts, you get bruises, you get stitches, you get concussions, you get broken limbs, and they walk back out there. Just as soon as they've healed halfway properly, they walk back out. That is manhood, but more importantly, that is fatherhood. to sit there with the little reproduction of yourself and to craft and mold another warrior. And now I'll tell you why. If you've had the ability to look at your father and he was able to tell you, Jason, this is the way it gets done. And then you've looked at your grandfathers and you see what they did, and generation after generation it's been passed down and now it's passed to you. What I'm saying is legacy is when you are putting something bigger than the sun in his hands. You're putting something in your hands, sons, that are bigger than he is. Now he knows what his mission in life is. Now he knows what his responsibility is because he watched his previous fathers carry the load. He can't give himself the right or the liberty or the luxury of putting it down. He's got to learn how to carry the load too. And you tell him, he says, Dad, I don't know what to do. I ain't got all the answers. We didn't have all the answers either. We didn't have all of the answers either. I'm not here to give you all the answers. I'm here to give you the courage and the wisdom and the ability to find any answers you don't have. And to have the faith in yourself that you can. Because one day I won't be here. And you will have to encourage yourself from what I've given you, not from what you still hear. When a father does that for his son, when a father does that for the son, that's everything. So when he grows up, he doesn't sit here and buckle and turn into the fetal position because his mama's coddled him into a little weak piece of limp nothing. If he knows that he can survive scrapes on his knees, cuts on his arms, bruises on his face, burns on his hands, if he knows that he can survive that, then damn it, he can survive bankruptcy. He can survive losing a job. He can survive getting kicked out of college. He knows he can survive that. At an early age, he was taught what he could do. He will be unbreakable. Because he doesn't hope it, he doesn't wish it, he knows it. I'm saying to you, that's what I see forming in your generation now. Maybe it doesn't look the way you thought it would. Maybe it doesn't quite appear the way you thought it might. But I want you to understand that I see it. And when I speak about fatherhood, I am also speaking about fatherhood for those of you who do not have biological children. I'm speaking about that too. There is a reason why every single man must comport himself and present himself in that manner. In my opinion, Denzel Washington, when he does that Denzel Washington strut, that's black manhood. That's the epitome of it right there. He's never done the gangster limp, never done the gangster lean, never did the gangster swinging of the arms like an ape. That man always stood straight back. Head up, chest out. That's manhood. And for all of you as men, you are a disgrace to black manhood, and you don't qualify as a man when folk can see you sitting around with your drawers showing, you telling all of us you looking for somebody to take care of you and protect you. Let's be very clear. We used to sit up here and think it was the gangsters with their pants sagging. Y'all realize now, no, it's just the punks and sissies with their pants sagging. The real men are walking around with their belts on. You know why? Because it might be time to put in some work. And you can't do that. You're not prepared for battle when your pants could drop down around your damn ankles like a hoe. A man walks in, t-shirt, straight. Not a whole bunch of extra stuff on him, by the way. A man doesn't walk in. I gotta tell you, I ain't big on y'all fellas walking around with hoodies on. A hoodie obstructs your line of sight. You put little babies and little children in hoodies to protect their bodies from exposure to the elements. A grown man ain't supposed to be walking around with a hoodie like that because, number one, you ain't ready for war. It obstructs your line of sight. You can't see from side to side with that hoodie blocking your peripheral vision. You're like a damn horse with blinders on. You can only see what's in front of you. A soldier needs to see 180 degrees. He needs to be able to see from one point to the other, from one horizon to the other. He's got to be able to see the threat before the threat can materialize and get into position. I'm not a big fan of wearing shades, but if they're light shades that obstruct which direction your eyes are looking in, you might be battle ready. Because I do have a pair of clip-ons that do that. They're light shades, but I got a pair of clip-ons that do that. Because sometimes I don't want you to know which direction my eyes are looking in. If I get right up on you, you might be able to see it, but from a distance, you won't be able to see what direction my eyes are in. That means you are ready. That means you are ready. You don't wear oversized shoes. You don't wear oversized clothes. That's your mama's bastard baby-making ways infecting you. You wear clothes that fit properly so that they move with your body. So that if you got to make a quick movement, you ain't moving and your clothes are still sitting back there. When you're sagging, if you make a quick movement, your clothes are sitting back there. When you're wearing oversized clothes, you move, your clothes are still behind you. They got to catch up. When you are ready, we should see it when you walk in the place. When you are ready to do business, I should be able to take a look at you from head to toe and see there's a difference between a track star, a fireman, a police officer, a biochemical engineer. Each of them wears a particular uniform. The uniform is what allows them to do the work they're doing. When you walk into a room, I should see you ready to do business if you're there for business. And I should see you there to lead if you are there to lead. And as men for the 60s and 70s created the pants-sagging baboons, this generation needs to exile them. This generation needs to exile the mama's boys. Those are the holdovers of the civil rights failures. This generation needs to uphold the men. So to the fellas out there, understand something. Your daddy might have went to prison. I ain't gonna down you for it. But you leave your daddy's sagging drawers where he was. You need to be honest enough with yourself to admit your dad sagging and daddy was getting turned out in the pen. Daddy wasn't the gangster. Daddy was the wife. You need to be honest with yourself and just start admitting that. Dad wasn't the gangster. Dad was the wife. Yeah. When he came home, he didn't really talk about that. But if you're really just honest, Dad was the wife. Yeah. And that you are going to do it differently. That you are going to make sure that every time you walk out that door, you are to be taken seriously. You need to have the idea that every time you walk out the door, it is all eyes on you, even when they think that it's not. You need to make sure that's the way you live. That when you walk into a place, they are seeing the epitome of manhood. Jason, what in the world does that mean? Take a look at the clothes that you wear. The clothes that you wear, fellas, as men, the clothes that you wear should reinforce your shoulders. Women are defined, I'm getting into the biology of it. I'm going all Dr. Francis Cress Welsing on you tonight. A man is defined by his shoulders. A woman is defined by her hips. Do I need to say that again? As men, you need to wear clothing that defines your shoulders because that's reminding you of your manhood. You sagging your pants, what is that drawing people's attention to? I'll be damned, Jason just brought it 720 degrees. Yeah, women bring attention to their hips and their rear ends. A woman is defined by her hips, her childbearing. A man is defined by his shoulders, protector and provider. Because if he got to put in work, the work coming from the shoulders. He didn't come here to swing his hips. He came here to swing these shoulders. Whole different thing. I'm defining manhood. Take it to the next level of degrees, Jason? Don't mind if I do. Let's talk about facial hair to the fellas. Let's be very, very clear. The women are taught from a young age to groom the hair on their heads. There's a place for that. But to the fellas out here, I would like to extend to you, and I'm just saying you might think it's optional, but think about this for a few moments. Our facial hair is what distinguishes us from women. Our facial hair is what distinguishes us as men. And I'm not necessarily saying you got to do like me and have a big Ayatollah beard. You ain't necessarily got to do that. But what I am saying is that as men, you need to see the value in the things that distinguish you from women, not the things that made you similar to your single mother Section 8 mommy. If that offends you, you got some growing up to do. But as men, at least to some degree, first of all, facial hair keeps you looking younger. And I'm not just talking about because it conceals your face. Hair on your face does like roots on a tree. It holds the skin firmer for more years. So in reality, if you really want to keep yourself looking younger longer, and I should know, a beard will help with that because it holds the skin the way that roots hold dirt around a tree. So as men, you might want to consider that. Another thing is, as you all know, facial hair is an alpha cue. Facial hair is an alpha symbol to everyone, especially to women, but to other men. Facial hair is an alpha cue. So what I'm saying is you may want to reconsider that if you've had animus towards it. Facial hair, when done right and groomed correctly, that says leadership. That says alpha. That is what, just like with a woman with her hair on her head properly done, that's the sign of an alpha female. For a man, facial hair properly groomed, that's the sign of an alpha male. That these are the things that define manhood and that you see the value in maintaining it properly. To the folks talking about they can't grow facial hair, you might want to see a doctor about that. But even if you can't, you can aspire to it. They sell wigs. But if you don't want to wear a beard, a chin wig, I understand. Look, the bottom line is it helps. If you can't have a beard, at least get your damn whiskers, the Whispers mustache. Y'all remember the Whispers? Y'all remember them little cats? Okay, if you can't grow a beard, dude, at least get the Whispers mustache. At least get that. At least get that Fu Manchu. At least get that handlebar mustache. Do what you can. Do it. You might not be able to do everything, but do what you can. Do what you can. Do what you can. But in any case, these are cues that define your manhood. So fellas, when you're picking out clothes, stop with the damn oversized t-shirts. You ain't your mama's kid no more. You supposed to be a man operating and moving in the world. The other reason for it is to set yourself apart and distinguish yourself from the unprepared. When you walk in like you mean something. When you walk in with some pride, but you can't have pride when you're sitting up here wearing the same thing as everybody else. You have something that accentuates what you are. You have clothing that accentuates that, right down to the color. You need to look like you are a man who came at any point and any time or any moment ready to put in work. That's what you are supposed to have. That's what you are supposed to be. That is what was stolen from you. And that's what you need to get back. Let me talk another thing here about shining. The bastard baby maker generation gave shining a bad connotation. Them old niggas got their little meager ass resources and squandered it on themselves. There is no bigger or greater act of treason. Because you've taught your children that the purpose of gathering resources is to squander it in some self-indulgent orgy of self-masturbation. What your children need to be taught is how to shine properly. Every man needs to have his nice suit. I'm just saying, you might have more than one suit, but you got that one. There's that one that is just like, this defines me. This one, this suit right here, I like my other ones, but this one right here, the cut, the feel, the movement down to my wrist, this the one right here. This is my power suit. If I got real business to take care of, I'm like Black Voltron. I'm booted up all the way when I wear this one. The other ones, I might come see you when that's got, and they're nice too, but this is my power suit. This is what I wear right here. This is what I do. This one here. Got the buttons on both sides. Y'all remember the brothers from Kings of Comedy. Y'all remember my man Bernie Mac. Never thought I would become one of them black men who would say this about a brother who had passed on. Never thought I'd be one of them, but I got to tell the truth. That brother could dress. That brother's dress code was on point. When he walked out, shout out to Chicago. I got to give it to Chicago for just a minute. Shout out to the Chi. That dude could dress. When he walked out there on that stage, that was it. That was it. He said, I'm here to make my money, but I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to do it the right way. So that brother gone, but let me tell y'all, that brother could dress. No doubt, no lie. And I'm not saying that you gotta wear a 3-piece suit every time you go to Walmart. I didn't say that. I'm not saying you gotta wear a 3-piece suit every time you go to McDonald's. I didn't say that. I didn't say you gotta be power suiting when you go to Krispy Kreme. I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is that your attire when you walk out the door, it should be something cognizant. It should be something that speaks to you. Because a lot of you are saying you're insecure, you ain't leading, you're not an alpha, you don't have much to offer. If something jump off, you the first one down on the ground. There's something to be said for that. Do you know how stupid you look wearing a t-shirt down to your damn knees with a Rolex? People, do you know as a man how silly you look with a t-shirt going down past your waist like a mini skirt and then wearing a Rolex? So let me get this straight. The watch that you're wearing is a precision instrument, handcrafted, hand-built, put into place. Everything is precisely positioned, and yet the rest of you is sloppy as hell. You sitting up here with your pants sagging, wearing a Cuban links chain. What the hell? Dude, you trying to imitate something. You're trying to grab the image of somebody who's better than you and graft it onto your inferior frame. It's time to grow the hell up. It's time to wear pants that ain't sitting up here rumpled on you. It's time to wear shirts and clothes that are straight and go to the point they're supposed to. And this goes to another thing. To the fellas out there, there's another reason to be physically fit, so your clothes and your watches and everything else fit properly. I was sitting here on YouTube the other day. Will somebody please explain to me why in the hell this fella looked like he was about 450 pounds? He looked like he was about 5'7" and 450 pounds, trying to squeeze his big ass behind the wheel of a G-Wagon. Dude, do you think it makes you look smaller? Do you think it makes you look more handsome? Bruh, you just turned that $150,000 vehicle and it looks like it's worth about 30 now, simply on account of the fact you sitting in it. Mercedes should sue. Mercedes should send you a cease and desist. From the buffet and from posing with their car, they should send you a cease and desist. To the fellas, you gonna see things differently when you stop being your mama's boy. The way you dress is different. When you're physically fit, the way you dress is different. And I know everybody has their ups and downs. I get that. I'm not bombing on you for that. But what I'm saying is start taking pride in yourself as a person. And it changes and affects everything around you. So now you can put on that Pierre Cardin. Now you can put on that Rolex. Hell, you might be able to throw on that Richard Mille. I don't know if that's the best investment, quite frankly, but you might be able to get one of them. And what I'm saying is that it's okay. That's okay when it's in its proper context. I want to see my people prosper and I want to see my people shining. I don't want you to overspend, but every once in a while, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. There's levels to this. I want your sons and your daughters to have that capacity. I want your sons and your daughters to have that ability. I want your sons and your daughters to have that ability that when folks see them, it's self-evident. I ain't got an issue with that. There's nothing wrong with you having a Rolex. There's nothing wrong with you having the suits. There's nothing wrong with your women having the red bottoms, if that's their thing, the Prada, the Louis, you name it. Nothing wrong with that. I want it in its proper context, in its proper place. That's manhood too. You should want to see your children shining. You should want to see your children doing well. You should want to see your children building on greater than you had. You should want to see that. You want to see them earn greater than you had, not be given it. You want to see them earn greater than you had. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all. As long as your son has been taught to earn that Bentley, then he can drive it. If your son knows the price and the value of hard work and he had to earn that Bentley, he can drive it. And you should be proud if you have a son who's learned how to earn that and then passes that down to his son. I ain't going to give you nothing in this regard. You're going to have to show me you can earn that. And once you show me you can earn it, now we're going to talk about what more you can get. But first you have to show us that you know the value of it, that it ain't going to be given to you. Nothing wrong with your sons or your daughters, but I'm talking to the men tonight. There's nothing wrong with the father seeing his children rolling like that. Nothing wrong with that, period. If you are a father, your daughter is supposed to be a head turner. Your daughter is supposed to be a showstopper. Your daughter is supposed to be that chick when she walk in the room. She's supposed to be like Attila Shabazz. She's supposed to be tall, elegant, sophisticated. Maybe she ain't that tall. She can still be elegant, sophisticated, done up from head to toe. She 4'2". She the baddest little 4'2" thing in here. Ain't got to show her draws. Don't have to inflate her rear end by the Michelin people. Your daughter is supposed to be shining. Your daughter is supposed to look good. Your daughter is supposed to represent you well. And your sons are supposed to be shining. He's supposed to have his vocabulary on point. He's supposed to know how to work on his cars and around the house. He's supposed to know how to turn $1 into 10. He's supposed to know how to shoot guns. He's supposed to be that dude. And by the way, he is supposed to be like Denzel. He looks just as masculine in a pair of cotton khakis and a t-shirt as he does with a $10,000 Gucci suit on. That no matter which way you do it, he takes it to its max value no matter what. That's supposed to be your son. He's supposed to look better with that Rolex when he's wearing a t-shirt than other folks do when they're wearing a whole damn suit. He goes to the gym. He keeps himself straight. He's well groomed. He's holding his head up high and his chest stuck out. He ain't doing the gorilla man walk. Understand something? Your son is shining. Your son is shining. And he can get behind the wheel of a Genesis or a G-Wagon, and it suits either way. Your son is shining. And I want you to have that, but your son can't shine with a father who doesn't know how to build sons, S-U-N. And the father has to see that first. If your son is sitting around looking at his feet when he was 4 years old or 5 years old at that spelling bee or that reading contest I told you about at the beginning, that will follow him for the rest of his life if he doesn't have a father who builds him into a man. You teach him how to handle that at 5 years old, he will be able to handle it for the rest of his life. Then one day when you're older and maybe you can't get around as well as you used to or whatever, you still getting around now. Don't get me wrong. You still getting around now. But you're getting a little bit older now and the stuff you got to deal with is more localized. The older you get, the more stuff we got to keep building through. And here we go. One of these days, when you all ask me about fatherhood, when you all ask me, Jason Black, about fatherhood, I could tell you all many things. I could say to you many things. But on tonight's program, what I want to do is I would like to show you something. I would like to show you something. And if I have the audacity, as it were, I'd like to play something for you, in my opinion, that encapsulates everything I've been talking about here tonight. And when you don't realize that, by the way, this is just a chick fell off of social media. She hasn't been vetted. Yeah, she's not known by anybody you know. That's another thing right there is, see, fellas need to understand when you're talking to a chick that nobody's vetted. Nobody knows her. Nobody's vetted her. None of the folk you roll with can vouch for her. So this idea that, okay, well, she's the freak of the week or the flavor of the moment. Let me go ahead and see if there's some capitalization to be done off of it. Next thing you know, you find out that she's like, well, maybe you'd be more useful to me as a scandal. You thinking, okay, we can just hang out for a moment. She's like, I might get more traction out of you dirtying you up, actually. So let me see how that goes. Because you can see she's left him hanging in the wind now for almost a week. Didn't say nothing. Knowing he's getting crucified out here. Knowing folks talking about sexual assault, which is a damn joke coming from Suki Hana. But yeah, it is. Fellas need to be aware, man. A chick might decide, you know what, you're a whole lot more useful to me getting run over.
Man, speaking of that, I did it with her in Summer Walker Crazy. Those cars, all of that stuff, that's a facade. Those are other people's cars. They just post up in front of them and take photos and make it seem like it's theirs, but it's none of that stuff's theirs. These celebrities, they stay in regular apartments. None of that crazy mansions or anything like that. That stuff really is a facade. I got to Atlanta thinking it would be something good, but it's really a front. It's not. Most of that stuff leaves. They paying foreigners. It's not.
I remember 5 years ago when I went visiting the Lenox Mall. And it just struck me when I was there that it was Christmas time. I'm downstairs, upstairs. I'm on the first floor, second floor, walking the doors and stuff. Stevie J was there. And I just realized walking through the whole place, all the dudes were dressed looking like Migos.
Yeah.
All the
for sure.
females are dressed like they wish they had a BBL.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just realized everybody's performing. All of you
Yeah.
people here, you might as well be walking around here with a demo tape. All of you are just performing. Everybody is walking around here acting like they're going to be signed somewhere. And that's the culture and the environment that you're in. Okay, that's cool. But don't sit up here and risk yours. If you're a person who's in the game, dealing with somebody who want to be in, that was the real reason he shouldn't have been putting his lips on her. Dude, you're in.
Yeah.
She wants to be where you are. She needs to earn that. You don't just walk up and bestow that. You got to earn that. Because understand something. If anybody else had done that besides, well, I'm talking about any other regular dude had done that, this wouldn't even be a story. YK does it, and she's milked this for as much as she can. That shows you that what he's got is more valuable than what she's got.
Yeah,
that's the reason he shouldn't have done that. Dude, she just showed you what you got is more valuable than her. Don't put yourself in compromising positions where someone can take your shine, transfer it to them, and leave you looking crazy.
For sure. Well, that's all. I just wanted to toss that in, Jason. I salute you. I will tell you, you called me as a young man. I called you when I was 22 years old. I'm 34 now, man. You changed my life. You're the reason why I'm an electrician, believe it or not. You had that podcast years ago where you had all the brothers call in and tell what the younger black men should have been doing. And that led me getting into this work. That's how I got into Atlanta. I moved from Florida, but you really done changed my life, brother. I have the most admiration for you. So that's all I wanted to get off. But I do appreciate the time that you gave me.
Well, thank you very much for taking out the time to call me and let me know that. And I hope I have contributed to your lives in a positive way. If I've done that, then I've justified my existence here.
For sure.
I don't have any biological children. None of my own. So I've tried to adopt as many of these others as I can. And I've tried to do as much as I can. And I can't always do as much as I want to. I really can't. But when he tells you that he encountered me 12 years ago, 12 years ago, and he was in his early 20s when he first found me. And now he's way further along. In other words, I fulfilled what I wanted to do to give someone in their early 20s a resource I wish I had had in my early 20s. And there it is. You notice I didn't milk it for fame. I didn't milk it for thanks. I didn't sit up here and try to drag it out and tell him, oh, tell me more. I didn't do that. He came back, and like I said during the program, sometimes your children, they go out there in the world and they come back 5 or 10 years later, and they come back and they check on the old man, and they let him know, hey, that thing you gave me, that worked out really well for me. Thanks. And I'm not an emotional person like that. I'm not. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I'm not an emotional person like that. But things like this, if I were an emotional person, things like this would do it for me. Things like this. Because I sit there and I think to myself, so that's what being a father is like. So that's what fatherhood is like. Young man wearing glasses, he was in his early 20s, he's looking for direction, he found it, and now, all these years later, the world is wide open to him as a result of what you've done. It's one thing to be a criminal in a child's life. It's another thing to actually be a benefit in a young person's life. And I just wonder to myself, and I think to myself, so that's what being a father is like. So that's fatherhood. So that's what that's like. And I've tried to fulfill that to the best of my ability. For some of you over the years and now going into decades, many of you have wondered, why is it that I stay on the phone so long? Which is why I tell my mods to kick out anybody who says, Jason, you need to hang up the phone and hang up on them and they've been on too long. When you say that, out you go. Because I understand what the civil rights generation did to destroy and decimate our community. And them talking to me with all these liars and hustlers and hucksters and con men out here and con women, this phone call with me might be his first, last, and only time that he speaks to somebody who can give him some information, tell him exactly what he needs to do, step by step, and then say the three most important words: call me back. This might be his last time. This might be the first time in his life it's ever happened. And this might be the last time. He may not have enough faith again to do this again. He might not come across anybody else again. He might not find me again. He might not. It might take him a decade to find me again. I need to make sure that when I'm done talking to him, he has everything he needs. The mission statement is clear. Now you just got to grind and push. He might not get to do this again. So when these people are on my phone talking to me, speaking to me, male, female, young, old, whatever, I take it deadly seriously. I take it deadly seriously. These are my children. I'm going to have to live in this world. They're going to have to live in the world that I built. And ultimately, I'm going to live in the one that they build. I better take out some time and invest some time in them. You better do that. Sometimes I ask them about their backgrounds. It isn't so I can demean them or degrade them. It's so I know, like a doctor, so I know what I'm dealing with, so I know what I'm up against, so I know where the misconceptions came from, so I know what's happening. That's very important to me. I gotta know that. And this is what I've dedicated my life's work to. I was a young man. I got on. I got knocked the hell off. I didn't fall off. I got knocked off. I dusted myself off. I found a way to get back up again. Got knocked back down again. Got back up the second time. It took longer, but only because I was building something far bigger. And now I feel like I can teach others from what I've learned. Reliable, actionable information. Nothing sexy. No get-rich-quick schemes. Just straight up hard work, and this is how it gets done, and this is how it gets done. And to the extent that I can say this, it has been my honor, it has been my privilege to be able to serve all of these young people, although they're not quite as young as they were when they first encountered me. But it has been my honor to serve you as I have. It's been my honor to watch you build a better world. It's been my honor to watch you sweep aside the old fossils who screwed up everything and to see you do bigger and better. It's been my privilege to be able to join you in this, to guide you in this. It's been my privilege to see that these young people, in some cases, literal children, as they've grown up. And I wonder what things will be like in 7 or 8 more years. I wonder what it'll be then. And I must tell you, of everything I've done, I don't think it's the films that'll be remembered most. I don't think, it certainly ain't going to be the money. Nobody's ever going to talk about he was a hell of a dresser. But I certainly hope and think that the lives that I've helped change will be my legacy. And then some of you be like, hey, you remember that guy Jason? Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I mean, he kind of got me started on this idea. I thought he was a bit of a wild man, but he gave me something I could really use. And now I think I can pass it on. That's fatherhood to me. I'm not 1,000% certain if that's what it is to you, but that's fatherhood to me. And I am more unshakably optimistic about it today than I have ever been in my life. I am more certain of your abilities as men than I have ever been in my life. And I am more certain that you are going to overcome all of these obstacles, both external and internal, than I've ever been in my life. It's been my honor and my privilege to be a surrogate father to those that I have been, even though I didn't ask for the job, even though, quite frankly, I've been running from it for the majority of my life, to be totally honest with you. It's like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that, because don't say dad, because that's a heavy burden, man. That's a heavy burden. And I've watched my brothers carry that. I've watched my brothers, be fathers. And that's a heavy burden, man. That's a heavy burden. I love my nieces and my nephews. I take fatherhood deadly seriously. And I've been a father to a whole lot more folk than them. So I take it seriously, especially if somebody's talked to me or whatever. I don't want to see them go wrong. I don't want to see them go wrong. We had a sister who was talking to me here for the last couple of years. Y'all know her, Tina, on my other channel. And, we lost her recently to a car accident. And the last couple of times she spoke to me, she didn't have very much positive to say. I'll just leave it at that. She didn't have a lot positive to say. But I never turned my back on her. I never blocked her. I never did anything like that. I always believe you have the chance to do better if you give them that option. And I'm going to continue doing the same. So I want to end this by saying, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to see what that's like. I want to thank all of you for giving me the ability and the time. And, it's been a growing and learning experience for me, and to see how it properly goes, because I wouldn't be as optimistic about it now if I hadn't seen it all these years. I want to thank all of you who have supported my work, which has confirmed that I was on the right track. I want to thank all of you who sometimes you get upset with me, sometimes you don't, and Jason can be abrasive. I understand that. Jason can be abrasive. But I want to thank all of you who've had faith in me. I want to thank all of you who've done that, because that has helped to clear the field of of most of the con men. And there'll be others who pop up, but now folk know what something real looks like. I want to thank all of you for being a part of that. Because fatherhood is useless without manhood. It cannot be fatherhood without manhood. And to be able to witness and enjoy the proper execution of manhood, and to see it in real time, for me to be able to watch it and track it across years and decades, and to see how it works and that it works, you all humble me. I can't say it any other way. You humble me. It was always my goal to contribute to your lives positively so that you could go out into the world and be the best people you could be. And that's fatherhood to me. That's fatherhood to me. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. Thank you to all of you here for showing you have that much faith in what I do. Thank you for that as well. I'm going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, I have some more that I would like to say here. But thank you to everyone who supports tonight's program. I know it's been a little bit different from what we usually do, except last Father's Day. It's a little bit different from what we usually do every week. We're usually covering politics, news, and other things, but this time I wanted to discuss something that hits closer to home. So we're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. Then we'll be back. This is The Black Channel.
Are you ready to take the next step in your career or business? With Higher Life Recruiting and Consulting, you can get the help you need to reach your goals. Our experiences span multiple industries, giving us the ability to source top talent across various fields. We specialize in STEM and high-tech industries, but we are equally adept at recruiting and professional services. Our services include career consulting, resume writing, LinkedIn consulting, interviewing, lead generation, sourcing, and talent mapping. Follow us on Instagram at Get Higher With Us.
Having computer problems? Is your PC or Mac running slow? Need help building a gaming PC? Having problems with your Apple or Android device? Call or text Fix Too Fast. We can fix common and uncommon computer software issues remotely anywhere nationwide from the comfort of your home or business. Are you having hardware issues with your PC or Mac? Ship it to us and we will ship it back fixed. Call 1-877-412-9890 or text 513-440-1646 to speak to a technician. Please visit our website at www.fixtoofast.net.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black first. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spirit-of-1811publishing.com and show your love.
More Threads, a brand owned by a descendant of Black American freedmen, was created to uniquely address Black American history and contributions that have been intentionally hidden and suppressed. Use their apparel and more to learn and share the Black American history of Black inventions, heroes, towns, Black business districts, and more. Sign up and support not only a Black-owned business, but a movement at www.morethread.co.
Order yours today. To experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter with skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Glad to be with you all here this evening. And on tonight's program here, I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap things up. But what I want to say is that I like to believe that we got where we are because of having a mission of where we were going, but also about where we will be going next. Because I got to tell you, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. Now, I might not be doing the same thing that, you might not be doing the same thing the young folks are doing out there. You might not be, but I'm telling you, I'm not done yet. Not by a long shot. I still got things I'm doing. I still got things I'm building. I'm still trying to honor my father and grandfathers. I'm still trying to honor them. So I don't have the luxury of sitting back. Let me tell y'all something. Manhood doesn't go into retirement. Manhood doesn't go into retirement, and fatherhood doesn't go into retirement. I still feel like it's incumbent on me to set the example, to set the mold, to set the model, that I still got to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it till the man come get me. I'm going to keep doing it until they throw me in the box. I'm going to keep doing it till the man throw me in the ground. That's just the way it's going to be. And if I'm not dead, you better hope I'm dead down there, because I'm going to dig back out and get back to work. But I'm never going to let this go. This is the way it is going to be, from the cradle to the grave. From the cradle to the grave. What you mean step down? What you mean back off? What you mean take it easy? Ain't no way. This is what it's going to be from here on in. Jason, what is on in till they come get me? So don't look for me to step back. Don't look for me to retire. I'm still sitting up here striving for the next goal. I'm still striving for the next thing. I'm still climbing the next mountain. I want my children to see that too. I want them to see, I don't know about other people's bloodlines. I don't know about other people's legacies, but in our bloodline, in our legacy, we're warriors till the day we're dead. Our blade stays sharp even after they put us in the ground. We're warriors from the cradle to the grave. I was born fighting. I'm gonna die that way. Peaceful death? What the hell you talking about? Warriors don't wish for a peaceful death. That's the other guy who got to worry about dying. And I'm not going to teach any of you that. I'm going to teach you to keep striving, keep struggling, keep building, keep making it happen, keep finding new mountains, new kingdoms to conquer. You keep building. There will be new adversity, and as you get older, you will relish it, because now you don't think you can beat it, you know you can. Because there was a man somewhere in your life who demonstrated to you what protector and provider looks like, sounds like, feels like, and is like. And even though you didn't have all the answers, that's okay, because he didn't have all the answers either. But he taught you how to find them. And there will always be a brighter and better tomorrow as a result. Being a father means teaching your children that despite the scrapes and the bruises, that there is absolutely nothing that will happen to them today that they cannot handle. Jason, what if it kills them? To which I say, it is also a father's duty to teach his children how to live well, but also how to die well. I was taught that too. One of the hardest, if not the hardest lesson that I ever learned in my life. And I watched 3 people, 1 man, 2 women that I cared for very, very much, my elders. And I watched as all of them faced death, and they didn't blink for a second. So I know how to die because I've watched people teach me how to die. And what they taught me is you die the way you lived. You don't curl up into a ball and become a little coward. You die the way you lived. That's what my mothers and my fathers taught me about manhood. That's what they taught me about fatherhood. And that's what I'm teaching you now. So therefore, no, there is nothing that can happen to me today or any other day that I am not equipped to handle, up to and including death. I'm ready to handle that too. Although, in the words of another father, Kratos from God of War, death may have me when it has earned me. Yes, I know you would like to take me, and by the way, I'm here for the taking, if you can. Don't be surprised if you find that a far harder task than you thought it would be when you set out. You've taken a few passes at me so far already. I'm still here. Going forward, stop doubting yourself. Going forward, stop questioning yourself. Going forward, understand that you have everything you need. Courage isn't always easy. That's why they call it courage. Recognize how great you really are, but not because you think it, because you have the courage to get out there and risk everything to prove it. That's what makes you a great man, and that's what makes you a great father. A father is simply the person who, when something goes bump in the night, he's going down there. Not because he may or may not be afraid, but because he doesn't let anything stop him. That's the impression, that's the lesson you want to teach your children. They'll carry that for the rest of their lives. And if father was a coward, they'll carry that for the rest of their lives too. If you're going to err on the side of strength. Err on the side of courage. Err on the side of fatherhood. The world will not remember your fresh haircut as much as you think they will. Not going to remember your fly tennis shoes or the wheels on your car as much as you think they will. But when they take a look at your children, that will always remind them. That is your final report card on the man that you were when they see your children. When we look at them, that will tell us everything about you. That will tell us whether you were even worth remembering, whether you're even worth remembering now. And you all have to understand, the defeated male does not wish to be remembered. The defeated male doesn't mind when his children and his woman do not say Happy Father's Day or acknowledge him. The defeated man doesn't care about that. But the man who matters wants to see that respect and esteem. And he knows he has to earn it. Thank you, Jughead. We appreciate that. I want to say to all of you here tonight, keep your heads up. Be optimistic. Don't be unrealistic, but be optimistic. Recognize that everything you do matters. We've started the process of changing the narrative about being black fathers and thus about being black men. The work is just starting. Keep it going. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the haven of intelligent black thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you to all of you who liked, subscribed, and shared. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. I know it's not always easy. It never is, but I want to thank you for showing those gestures of respect. It is always noticed. It's always appreciated. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, to all of my brothers, all of my sisters, all of my mothers, all of my fathers, all of my sons, and all of my daughters, remember, black is your future, and your future is unlimited and uncompromising.